Hello YouTube. So I wanted to just take a couple of minutes to give you a couple of thoughts and takeaways from this really fun to build set. This is set 7674, the V-19 Torrent Republic Starfighter. It was released in 2008, contains 471 pieces, and has a couple of very interesting features which I enjoyed building just for that piece alone. Of course, you do have a nice combination of actual Lego pieces as well as Technic, but if you'll notice too, there's a couple of actual Bionicle pieces that are used as part of the landing gear structure, which I thought was kind of a nice throwback. I hadn't built anything from that period in quite a while, and to just see a couple of Bionicle pieces being used as part of a set was really a nice nostalgia moment for me. As you can see, it has a lot of great detail, but not a lot of stickers. There's only 3 stickers, one on each wing and then one here on the center nose. And one feature that I thought was really neat is the retractable and extendable canopy piece there, which is just something that I think is nice. It's a nice change from the normal just connection and hinged piece. I thought that was really a nice thing to do. When we talk about this transitional landing gear and wing extension assembly, one thing I will note is be very cautious when you're putting it together. It's not overly complicated, but as you're assembling it, look at the pictures closely, because as you are assembling it, if the gear is not in the proper extension, if it's not, for example, put together with the gear in a landed position, as you start to build and assemble some of the pieces, you may end up having to kind of take things apart and reassemble them if it seems like the wings and the landing gear aren't functioning properly, and 99% of the time it's going to boil down to that fact. So just take a moment as you're assembling those pieces to be aware of that. One thing that I thought was unique as well is it uses a manual connection piece right here to actually prevent the extension and retraction of the landing gear when it's in the landed position. So that was something I didn't notice at first until I was wondering why I could not actually pick this thing up and extend it into its flight positions. And it's just because this locking pin here, which is very easy to move and looks very flush when you do have it in the extended position. So I thought that was a very neat takeaway. Another thing that I do like about this set is it's not overly loaded with any type of flick fire missiles or things like that, so it still looks nice even when you do have the flick fire kind of push points built into it. So it displays nicely. I guess I should show you the actual transition point just for everybody's knowledge here. All you do, as I mentioned, is you simply take this piece, you put it forward, and then you just simply rotate. And I think this is such a nice way to display this. So I'm looking forward to building a stand. I did actually find a stand for this on Rebrickables, so I'm looking forward to assembling that just so I can display that properly. So while I do think it looks nice in the landed position, I think it looks so much better when it's actually in the extended flight position. So for me, I would suggest that. Of course, you could display it either way. And as you can see, it's very well made, no major issues. It has good swooshability, I guess you would say. A couple of other things of note: you will build this small piece, and it's actually used when you're assembling the engines. You're going to insert this on each side as you're putting the engines together, and this is to keep everything properly oriented as you're getting ready to mount it to the wing, to the Technic pins that are actually in there. And as soon as you install that, you're going to remove it, and then you'll simply use it again for the other side. So just something to note. This isn't a piece that stays on. I was a little confused at first. It doesn't really specify that too much, though it does give you the little graphic indicator in the manual there. Another thing of note, and this isn't a problem with this set so much as it is a problem with the color and the pieces from Lego. These red pieces continue to live up to the notoriety of being very delicate and easily broken. I was fortunate that this one actually broke as I was building the center line of the wing here, so it's actually in a hidden position, so the display itself doesn't show it. But it's a little frustrating when you're using brand new parts, and sure enough, you run into the legend of the fragile red brick, and it surely rears its head. But I was lucky that it was only one small piece and didn't actually occur anywhere else in the build as I was going. And there were a couple of spots where, as I was assembling, I had to take things apart. So I was trying to be careful. But again, you may run into that little gremlin appearing. So just be aware and be ready for that. So again, overall, a very quick build, very nice build. I love the detail on it. I wish that they would do more of these, earlier 2000 builds in some of the modern approaches and some of the new modern pieces, just to see how they could build upon or improve on it, kind of like they did with the recent ATTE. While it doesn't grandly increase from some of the previous ATTEs, you do see some of the benefits of a better build. You get to see a little bit more room for interior spaces and things like that. So I'd be very curious to see how the V-19 would turn out with some modern techniques and some modern pieces being added in there. Only thing that I think is a little bit weird is this does call out for the clone pilot to have a long rifle, but there's actually no place you could store it. Whereas if you were to use, for example, a small pistol for this build, you could actually mount it and put it inside of the little storage area there, just in front of the cockpit, and be able to fully keep that on the plane. So a little curious why they went with this rifle instead of a pistol, just for that reason. But again, not a big thing, not a showstopper. Won't be part of the permanent display anyway. And of course, you do end up with 2 extra missiles, just so that way if you happen to lose one, you've got one there. So again, very nice build, enjoyed it. Not a lot of issues other than to please be careful when you are assembling that gearing system to ensure it's in the right orientations, or else you might find yourself having to take that apart and reassemble it a couple times. If there's any questions or comments that you'd like answered, or better pictures, please feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to take pictures or try to answer any questions you might have about this build in general. I will also be uploading a speed build time-lapse video of the build itself, so you can see how that went. It was very quick, about 2.5 minutes for that video. It should be up very quickly. If you have, again, any other questions, be happy to share what I know and what little takeaways I can provide for you. Take care and have a great day.